now and tomorrow. We are going to talk with Aaron here in a little bit, get an update, because President Trump has come out and said that if there's going to be a strike against Iran, Israel will be leading the way. So we're going to get a report today from Aaron about that and much more. A meeting has just wrapped up of the cabinet of President Donald Trump. Some very interesting things. I love how he goes around the table and has the different cabinet members, the different secretaries of different departments, like Secretary of Defense, Health and Human Services. The members of his cabinet go around and give a progress report, an update. I don't remember that being done by any previous president. If it had, I sure don't remember it. But it sure is interesting it kind of reminds you of watching the old Apprentice programs where he sits there and people, tell him about what they did, building their business or their business model or testing a product in the field, as they would go out and do. They would have to go out in the street and start selling a product to the consumer and getting a reaction. And it kind of has that same feel. Tell me how you're doing. What's up? What's the report? It's kind of an interesting comparison, but it's what it really feels like. Although I don't expect him to say you're fired to anybody right there. But I want to play a few clips because it does show us some progress that's being made, including something about the RFK, JFK, MLK records. Apparently, lots and lots of records have been found that were in boxes that have never been scanned in. And apparently they're going to be released in the next few days. This just keeps getting more and more interesting. We'll get to all that. We also have a young man who was suspended, believe it or not, because he wanted the school district to obey the rules, the procedures that were in place, the policies in place that required an American flag in every schoolroom. And for his patriotism, what happened? He got suspended from school. Mm-hmm. Five police cars were called as well. I want to tell you about that real quick. So we got a lot of video clips. We do have some interesting news. We have so many things that are in the works right now, and I wish I could tell you they're here, they're available, but we're talking about months and months and months of work that has been going on behind the scenes with our 35-year database. As you know, we have interviewed some of the most astute Bible teachers, Dr. John Whitcomb, prophecy experts, Dr. Jimmy DeYoung, Andy Woods, Rob Lindsted, the list goes on and on and on. Dr. Ron Carlson, some of these folks, of course, are not with us anymore, but we have an amazing library, 35 years, as you know. And as you know, we also have built our own AI servers. And these are quarantined. These are isolated servers. So it's only our content. Nothing else is being merged with it. It's just our years of content that for months and months has been being automatically transcribed and tagged with minute marks and all kinds of amazing things. Logan, should I tell them one of the big projects we're working on right now? One of them right now we're working on is an online Worldview Bible, a Worldview weekend study Bible, a Worldview tube study Bible, whatever you want to. We haven't really given it I don't want my name on that. I just don't like that. But we call it a Worldview tube study Bible. And what we're doing is we're taking all of the times that Dr. DeYoung, Andy Woods, Dr. Rob Lindsted, myself, and others have been teaching the Bible, and then it will automatically grab all those and then start building Bible study notes for us throughout the entire Bible. I don't know how long it'll take. We had a meeting, a conference call this morning with our IT guy on it. The servers we have multiple servers, by the way, that are up and running and spinning as we're talking right now. We have a server that's doing this project, a server that's doing that project, a server that's doing that project, and they're independent projects. And what's really neat about this is I said, guys, obviously your typical study Bible will have, maybe a sentence or two about a verse. But we have guys that have gone and written position papers on one verse, a whole position paper, or did a 1-hour treatise on 1 or 2 verses. And people ought to be able to get all of that if they want to go deeper. Obviously, you don't want a study Bible that has, 20 pages for notes for one verse. But for those who want to go deeper, you'll be able to click it and say, yeah, I want more. I want to watch the video by John Whitcomb talking about Genesis, the verse, whatever it might be, out of the book of Genesis. Or I want to watch Jimmy DeYoung talking about this. Or I want to watch Ron Carlson talking about this related to Hinduism, yoga, etc., right? This is a perfect example how you could take something and you can use it for good or evil. And to have a powerful computer system that is taking what we have had in the spoken word and the written word and then help us organize it. This is doing what would take a team years and years and years to do and be really almost to the point of financially impossible. And put together a resource, I think, that we're pretty excited about to help people have a Bible prophecy and biblical worldview notes with the Bible. And okay, I want to stress again, as I think this listening audience knows, the notes are not inspired, but we have some really good Bible teachers who we've been working with for so many years. And it's just a fun project. I'm very excited about that project. We also have another project we're working on that will be an independent app. And we're hoping that a lot of unbelievers, non-believers, people that are maybe considering the claims of Christ will find this helpful to them. We know that Bible sales have spiked, and a lot of non-believers are buying Bibles. They're trying to figure out what is going on in this world. Well, we have the ability with an app we're working on to be able to let them ask questions. And the app can then turn around and answer their questions within seconds. And we don't have to worry because, again, it's coming from Dr. Jimmy DeYoung, it's coming from John Whitcomb, it's coming from Rob Lindstedt, Dr. Woods. These are trusted theologians. And then we can get their answers immediately to them with these powerful systems that we have spun up. And it'll be a Bible software app that allow you to study the Bible in seconds. The technology that is available is absolutely amazing for what we have been able to archive. I told Logan, this morning, Logan, I didn't know what technology was coming, but something years ago said, categorize and keep and back up everything you do. Radio, TV, conferences, don't lose these things. Have backups of backups of backups. So we do. We have multiple backups across multiple places. But keep this and keep it good and keep it organized and keep it clean. And I think something's going to come technology-wise that will help us be able to quickly access our database and research. I didn't know what it was, but I knew the computers were becoming faster and faster and faster to the day that we'll be able to search this content and have at our fingertips, in a matter of seconds, sound theological, biblical worldview answers for people that are asking. And the Bible says that. Be ready to give an answer of the hope we profess. And there's a lot going on in the world and a lot of people asking questions. And this is a great opportunity to take what's of interest to the culture now. The Bible prophecy, end times, a rise of a one world government, one world religion, and say, look, here's a very easy to use app to get answers. So we have so many other projects, and we even have more than that going on. I won't take the time to tell you, but so many projects going on behind the scenes with a team of people that are working on them that I think you guys are going to be really, really excited about. I hope you are. I'm excited about them. It's great to have 35 years of this kind of content. It's a treasure trove. We just need to be able to access it quicker and faster and make it easy for the man on the street level to get answers. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and it is a lot of fun. All right, with that, we do have, I think, a very troubling report here. This is a whistleblower testifying before I think this is a Senate committee, a Meta whistleblower. Apparently, Mark Zuckerberg, who you just have to, I hate to say this because I don't want to be unkind, but you look at the gentleman and he gives you the creeps. Mark Zuckerberg, I think, has a spirit on him that is very troubling. Just his appearance and his eyes and face says, they say the eyes are the window of the soul. There is something really off-putting and creepy about Mark Zuckerberg. I would not trust that guy. I hear he has bought a multi-million-dollar house in Washington, D.C. Apparently now he wants to cozy right up to the Trump administration. I hope President Trump will not fall for this guy. But apparently Meta and Facebook, they have been in partnership with the Communist Party to censor the truth. And I would think that's us. I would think that includes us. I know that Logan was telling me the other day, we work with a lot of our broadcasters to help them put the content from our network out on their Facebook page. And Colonel Rob Maness, for instance, how many followers has he got on Facebook? Almost 1 million? 900-some-odd thousand for Colonel Rob Maness. And we'll put something up for him, and it will get, am I correct when I say this? 0 views, 0 likes or views. 0. So he'll put it up, Logan's saying. He'll put it up, and he'll get of the stuff we're producing for him, and he'll get 0 likes, 0 views, 0 comments. Now, what is the statistical probability of that with 900,000 people following you? There's only one reason for that. And I think it's called shadow banning. So don't buy what I think is an absolute lie that somehow Mark Zuckerberg is all of a sudden interested in free speech. And when we come back from the break, we're going to hear from a lady that just testified, and I don't think it was a House committee. I think it was a Senate committee. She is a whistleblower from inside Meta, from inside Facebook, and you're going to hear. Now, here's the other issue. Of course, you're going to hear this data is now able, and has been apparently, downloaded. So any of us in America, not that maybe China couldn't already write their own software and program that allows them to track some of this, but they don't need to get the help of Facebook to do it. But that's apparently what has happened, making it very easy for them. Now, apparently for the CCP to know every one of us that is telling the truth about China and their history and their background and their tactics and their goals, then perhaps that's why patriotic, former military, national intelligence experts like Colonel Rob Maness can have 900,000 followers on Facebook, get 0 likes, 0 comments, 0 views. So, all right, so they're updating my ear. I guess they were confused. It's 200,000 followers. That's a big audience. And you're getting 0 likes. We're going to hear from this whistleblower when we come back about shadow banning at Meta. We're not changing courses now. We are who we are. We're committed to the truth that we are committed to. Worldview Tube is a broadcast network that I started in 2006, but it's based on my 35 years as an author and speaker and commentator. Worldview Tube is here to defend the truth of a Christian worldview. And we believe we can apply it to all areas of life, like law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, major issues.
At worldviewtube.com, we provide news from around the globe that isn't typically covered by mainstream media. Visit worldviewtube.com to watch our experts and analysts discuss all your favorite topics on our 24/7 live stream. Explore our extensive collection of unfiltered and uncensored content from 35 years of production. Go to worldviewtube.com today. Also find us on all of these major platforms and download our Worldview Tube mobile app.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. So we were just looking during the break there. How many followers do you have now, Logan? 198. So since 2022, he's lost 7,000 followers since 2022. He's more visible now than he's ever been, and yet he's losing followers. And he's still getting 0 likes, 0 comments on some of his posts with 198,000 followers. Now, again, that's statistically impossible unless something's going on. I think this whistleblower tells us what's going on. And this may be why Zuckerberg is in DC trying to cozy up to the administration, because this guy knows what he's done. And now I guess maybe he needs to be there to build relationships and plead ignorance or plead forgiveness. I don't know. But there should be serious, serious consequences legally, punitively, for companies like this. Listen to this whistleblower from Meta, from Facebook.
My name is Sarah Wynne-Williams, and I served as the Director of Global Public Policy at Facebook, now Meta, for nearly 7 years, starting in 2011. Throughout those 7 years, I saw Meta executives repeatedly undermine U.S. national security and betray American values. They did these things in secret to win favor with Beijing and build an $18 billion business in China. We are engaged in a high-stakes AI arms race against China. And during my time at Meta, company executives lied about what they were doing with the Chinese Communist Party to employees, shareholders, Congress, and the American public. I sit before this committee today to set the record straight about these illegal and dangerous activities. Meta's dishonesty started with the betrayal of core American values. Mark Zuckerberg pledged himself a free speech champion. Yet I witnessed Meta work hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party to construct and test custom-built censorship tools that silenced and censored their critics.
That's right. And then downloaded the data and identified who these folks are that are criticizing the CCP. Now, I think there needs to be, obviously, criminal prosecution, heavy fines, penalties. It's very possible this company needs to actually be shut down. I don't know how a company can do this. I mean, Arthur Andersen doesn't even exist anymore, right? And it turns out, I'm not even sure that was a legitimate operation investigating them, correct? But Facebook or Meta can get away with this and stay in the US. This is extremely troubling. And again, I think it shows you exactly what I think I told you yesterday on this broadcast, the infiltration of China into our finances, into our American corporations, and that they have this philosophy and idea that they're to rule all that is under heaven. That's the Chinese worldview. And of course, Mao, in 1966, as I think I told you yesterday, wrote a letter to his wife about establishing a global Chinese rule. On to other news. Almost every single Democrat in the House of Representatives today voted against a bill to require proof of U.S. citizenship before registering to vote in federal elections. Why would you do that? There's only one reason you would do that. You're counting on voter fraud for a one-party system. Let's just say that if we do not clean this up between now and the midterms, it's going to be quite shocking to see what happens in the midterms. Obviously, after 2 years of the second term of President Trump, this will be a referendum on President Trump. That's how the media will paint it. And that's what it will be if it's a free and fair election. And the public can say, we like the direction we're going, which I think the latest surveys is 45% of Americans agree with the direction we're headed. And so it's going to be either we like what President Trump is doing, let's keep going, and elect people into Congress that agree with his America First policies, or it's going to be we don't. Last night on my TV show with Leo Holman, I proposed that, and we need to write that into an article, Logan. I proposed that President Trump should come out and make an announcement that there will be no federal income tax for 2025. due to the massive fraud, due to putting and knowing that our government was putting into vaccines for children a substance known as thimerosal. The government lied saying that this was taken out of these vaccines, I think in 2001, yet it's still in them. And there is a strong connection between those and autism. And our government has tried to tell on the CDC website and other government websites that this thimerosal is no longer in these so-called vaccines. That's a lie. There needs to be criminal prosecutions, but the amount of fraud, disease, death, cancer, autism, financial fraud, corruption that has gone on by this federal government is so great that the American people deserve restitution. There needs to be penalties on the federal government for all of this, including the destruction of the middle class through inflation, which is a hidden tax, which you cannot take off on your taxes, but you should be able to take off the rate of inflation on your taxes because it is a hidden tax. And I called last night for President Trump to come out from the Oval Office and announce that he's signing an executive order ceasing all federal income tax for all Americans for 2025. And maybe Leo said, that's a great idea, Brannon. I would up it. I'll see your 1 year and up it 2 years. He should sign an executive order that for the remaining term of his second administration, no federal income tax for any Americans because the federal government has so abused, lied, cheated, murdered, infected, abused the American taxpayer. But we'll see what happens in 2 years with these midterms. But there's only one reason you don't want voter ID is your intent on forcing a revolution in America, and you know the only way you can get it is through fraud. In fact, listen to what Tulsi Gabbard said today in this cabinet meeting of President Trump's. Listen to this.
And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to...
Over 100 people working around the clock. Wow.
Scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
Scanned and released in the next few days. And how just, I don't even know what the word to use is, compelling to listen to her talk and 2 seats down from her, looking at her on this camera shot is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Sitting 3 seats from the president, sitting where his father used to sit as Attorney General, his uncle used to sit as president, and now in 2025, hear that our government for decades has been hiding files from the American people on the murder of his uncle and his father. How ironic is this? Historic, compelling. Can you imagine what's going through his head? That came out today. In fact, here's Robert F. Kennedy himself when it comes to our government lying to us and putting substances in vaccines that have caused autism, which this has been a big deal for President Trump long before he ran for president. He was talking about autism in children. Listen to what RFK Jr. said today in the cabinet meeting.
And we have, we have now the autism rates have gone from now most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31, 1 in 20, so they're going up again from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid. And we are going at your direction. We are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So big. Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism. and now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it?
The fact that you have a president that even cares about this topic is overwhelming. I think that says a lot about Donald Trump. I don't know who it was in his life, but he has talked in the past about seeing children who were wonderful, happy, healthy, bright, bubbly, exuberant children. Then they go to get their shots and they have been damaged. He's on record, on video. He had some kind of personal experience with this, with one of his employees, a friend, I don't know. He didn't say. But he's not fooling around. This is, there's one thing to say, oh, I have an interest in that. There's another thing to say, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. It's one thing to say, I'm going to do this as a campaign issue and then do it. 1 in 10,000 children would get autism when RFK Jr. was a child. Then we heard the stat 1 in 36. Now it's rising again, 1 in 31. What else do we have today? Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense.
To secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China said too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we had a very successful trip.
Yeah, he had a very successful trip, he said. And in fact, he even referenced that in a speech. I think this was yesterday. Listen to this.
That is why the United States and Panama have just signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperative security activities. And will be signing, just moments after this press conference, a joint declaration with the Minister of Canal Affairs on the security and operation of the Panama Canal, which is a framework for U.S. warship and auxiliary ships to sail first and free through the Panama Canal.
Isn't that something? All right, this is what Michael Yon, who's been down there on the Panama Canal, reported for us a couple weeks, literally at the Panama Canal. You could hear it running in the background, has been saying. This has been a stranglehold that China's gotten around, Chinese businesses gotten around. You have a lot of CCP soldiers, People's Liberation Army soldiers down there. They're wearing civilian clothes, but they are Chinese soldiers. And this is a huge issue for us from our just-in-time inventory. And they're taking charge of this one. A lot of great reports coming out of the cabinet meeting this morning. I'm going to go to one more, and then we're going to go to get an update from Aaron. Don't go away.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon Howse.
This is your Worldview Tube news break. The EU will delay its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods for 90 days, following a U.S. tariff reduction to 10% for trade talks. The EU's measures countered U.S. 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos, plus a 20% rate on most goods. Set for April 15th, the EU targets include clothing and machinery. Ursula von der Leyen noted that unsatisfactory talks would trigger countermeasures with more planned. Markets rose after Trump's announcement. For more on the story, stay tuned at worldviewtube.com and download all of our apps at worldviewtube.com/apps.
There's another report I'm just reading as we're on the air coming from Children's Health Defense. That's RFK Jr.'s group. Dr. Paul Thomas says 97% of children who died from sudden infant death syndrome, 97% died within 10 days of getting the vaccine. They always say, follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. How many children have died because our government has lied over and over and over again? The families that have to hire special tutors, that have to hire help because their child has gotten these shots and has been severely damaged. Some, their kids are on the autistic scale. Others have been severely damaged. The stresses, the strains on a marriage with a special needs child, some of them don't make it. But think of what has happened that our government has done to people in this country, all for the sake of the almighty dollar. And there's no restitution. Oh, you maybe, if you're very, very, very fortunate, can file something with the vaccine injury division inside our government and get a payout. But that's a super, super, super small percentage of people that receive anything. And yet families have been broke financially, are greatly damaged because they now have been left with a child that requires a lot of attention, a lot of help. Special teachers, as I said, have to be hired. Some cases, you have to bring a staff person in to help with the child, depending on the severity. And then, of course, you have the people whose baby died. And this same corrupt, evil federal government has known and even lied to the American people, saying, oh, no, this thimerosal was taken out of the vaccines. No, it was not. Where are the criminal prosecutions? You know, Tulsi Gabbard said today, I don't think I have the clip, but she said today, the amount of fraud and abuse is overwhelming. The American, don't tell me about reparations for slavery because there's no way to gauge that. And the families that were fighting against it, whose relatives died or made great sacrifices, or the largest slave owner in Louisiana being a black man. I mean, there's no way to deal with this in a way that's legitimate. But we can deal with the fraud, the abuse, the murder, the damage, the theft that has been done by this federal government. We can give restitution to the American people. No more federal income tax for at least 2025, if not 2026, 2027. And encourage the American people to use it to pay off debt. Encourage the American people to use it to start a small business, expand your business, get necessary technology and equipment to grow your business, hire more people, build it in America, manufacture it in America. Quit buying it from the Chi-Coms, the red communist Chinese. I pray that's something President Trump will do. American families deserve restitution for the criminals, the murder, the theft, the debasement of their currency, the terrorism by the federal government. The terrorism. The American people should never fear the federal government unless they're doing evil. That's what Romans 13 says about government. And the evil, of course, is not just at the federal level. It's at the local level. It's at the state level. One more story before we go to Aaron. Here's a student. Here's a student in Baltimore. He thought, there should be flags in every classroom. That's what the school board policy is, 6307. And Maryland Education Code 7-105. American flag must be displayed in every classroom. So this young man drove himself to the headquarters, the office of the school leadership, the superintendent's office, and simply wanted to know, hey, why are there not flags in all the schoolrooms per the codes? 5 police cars were called. He has the whole thing videoed, by the way. He was respectful. He was given a 7-day suspension because he went to the headquarters of the school district and asked why there are not American flags in every room. But after he was suspended for 7 days, guess what? The flags magically appeared in the classroom. This is a child a student they should be giving an award to, not suspending. But there is a war on patriotism. Let's get an update from Aaron, because President Trump has come out and he has said that if Iran is to be struck, Israel will need to lead the way. I have it over at worldviewreport.com today, worldviewreport.com. And let's, are we having a problem grabbing him, Logan? Can we go to Aaron? All right, they're repositioning Aaron. Is he driving or what's the deal? I don't know. We're going to go to him as soon as they give me the clear. But here it is. Trump on Iran. If it requires military action, Israel will be the leader of that. All right, he joins us now. Aaron, welcome to the broadcast again. What do you make of this report that came out yesterday from Israel National News? If it requires military action, Israel will lead that. That's what President Trump has said. Your thoughts, Aaron?
Brannon, this is big. Do you remember the other day when we were analyzing the meeting between Trump and Bibi? We were looking at the body language, and I said, there's something about Bibi. He looks like a dog with his leg between his legs. There was something. I mean, Jonathan Pollard said Trump played him like a fiddle. That's what Jonathan Pollard said. I believe, looking back, I think what Trump said to Bibi is, yeah, we're going to go. We're going to go for Iran, but you, Bibi, you're going to take the lead. And he dropped the ball right in the lap of Bibi. And I think,
but why would that make him have that look in his face like that you said you saw? Which, by the way, I didn't know what book Bibi was taken out of the. I almost said on the other day, I sure would like to know what book he's got in his hand. Well, the book he had was apparently a signed copy of Art of the Deal, President Trump's book. He gave Art of the Deal to Bibi, according to the press, which again is telling him, this is almost like Margaret Thatcher telling George H. Bush before Gulf War, George, this is no time to go wobbly in the knees. Does Bibi have a little bit of a wobbly set of knees on him or what?
This is a very good question. There is a lot of analytical talk, debate about Bibi and his will and following in the footsteps of his father. His father, Bensi, he was a brilliant historian who taught in universities in the United States, a man of very high esteem. And there's talk about the expectations of Bibi having to follow in his footsteps. And then, of course, Bibi losing his brother, Jonathan, in the raid at Entebbe. So he's been through a few knocks, a few perhaps traumas. He was in the top military unit equivalent to the Green Berets or the Navy SEALs, Sayeret Matkal, it's called. And so, yeah, there's a lot of analysts about it. But the big question is his will. His will. Some people are saying that he should have, a long time ago, when Iran attacked us with over 300 missiles, he should have hit Iran heavily back then. And some people are actually saying that it should be taken to the High Court of Justice as a war crime that he did not attack Iran after they fired 300 missiles to us. So I don't know if people are restraining him. I don't know if it's his government. I don't know if it's America. I don't know the Biden administration. But there are questions about the strength of his will. But now, obviously, the ball is put in his court. However, I think it is different. Obviously, Donald Trump has said, we're right behind you. We are going to back you. And so, the triggers are loaded. And Iran, they know it. They know that they are on borrowed time. I don't know if you've been following, Brannon, but now in their panic, they are now actually going for more and new proxies. They have just handed a whole lot of long-range surface-to-air missiles to Iraq. They've found some proxies in Iraq because Hezbollah are no longer their proxy. Syria are no longer their proxy. Hamas are no longer their proxy. The Houthis are no longer their proxy. So they're now finding new ones in Iraq and in Somalia. So, I liked what Alan Dershowitz said. Alan Dershowitz said that terrorism is, and I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said it's like a cancer that mutates. It latches on to something else and it just mutates. And that's what this terrorism does. It's like you think you've cut off the main strength and you find that it's mutated somewhere else. So that's what we're fighting, Brannon. So when
Iran drags missiles into Iraq, of course we have a gigantic military base in Iraq. Huge embassy in Baghdad. So what you're talking about is moving things into place to start striking U.S. soldiers and U.S. employees in the region.
Well, we all know that you're the big Satan. Now, I'm sorry to say that, but that's what they call you.
Right.
Now, the reports I've read is basically, and just today I heard that, I think it was 10 or 14 top imams in the world have called for a global on Israel.
Wait, you broke up. They're calling for a global what?
Jihad.
They're calling for a bunch of top imams are calling for global jihad on Israel.
Yeah, and look, that's nothing new. But they're upping the ante. So I don't know whether those missiles to Iraq are for Israel or for the American bases, but Iran are scrambling. Their economy is shot. And from what I've researched, Brannon, about 5 times over the last 20 years, going back to 2003, 2013, 2015, 2019, Iran have come to the table to negotiate over their nuclear plans. And during those negotiations, they have sent a mass amount of weapons to their proxies. So I'm sure Trump knows this. He hopefully will not be fooled. He will not allow them to stall for time and bluff. So, I can't wait for it to happen. Really, it's got to happen. Brannon, I don't think we'll ever get another chance. If this opportunity passes, God help Israel.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know about the rest of the region.
And of course, there are those in America though that are worried that is going to kick off something and get us into a World War III or terrorist attacks and terrorists in the U.S. So we'll have that addressed. We'll address that when we come back along with more. Aaron Lavarco on the ground. Don't go away.
Hello, I'm Brannon Howse. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
All right, welcome back. Now, I don't know if I'm the only one to point this out. If you guys know of anyone else that's pointed this out, please let me know. But I find this kind of interesting. I like to watch things and kind of study things and see if there are messages being sent. We know that President Trump, as you walk into the Oval Office, has his mugshot, right? He has his mugshot as you come into the Oval Office. So all of these Marxist Democrats and others and rhinos that wanted him put into jail, into prison, that are still in office and have to come there for meetings, they got to walk past that. You know, you tried, good try, but didn't happen. Here I am as they walk past his mugshot. He seems to always be sending signals, and I don't know if he's sending something with this or not, and I don't know if I'm the only one to mention this, but if you go to the footage, if you go to the White House footage on the the Twitter page of the White House, and you look at the Oval Office, above the fireplace, you have all of these pictures of former presidents. But what caught my eye the other day is right at face level is a mirror. So what it means is when President Trump looks in the mirror, he is on the wall with what are supposed to be some of the greatest presidents in American history. And so he has two mirrors as the camera does a 180-degree turn, 360 actually. You can see that there are two mirrors at what would be President Trump's height. So he can actually look in the mirror and be up on the wall with all of these other presidents he's chosen to put on the wall. I don't know if that's what he's doing, if that's the message he sent, but when he looks in the mirror, he's up on the wall with all the rest of them, which I thought is, I don't even know if he's thought about it, but I have to think he has. Because if you're the president and you look in the mirror and see yourself, you realize now my picture is up on the wall with all these other folks. I wonder if anyone else has picked up on this. But he is a funny guy to watch, I'll tell you that. All right, do we still have Aaron, Logan? Do we lose Aaron? Oh, he's trying to get Aaron back. Now, President Trump has come out and said something that's very interesting related to a weapon, a secret weapon. Listen to this.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not.
So I don't know what weapon he's referring to, but he says we have some kind of weapon that is so powerful and people don't have a clue how powerful it really is. So I don't know what weapon he's talking about, but there you go. We're gonna try to reestablish contact with Aaron. Aaron's going down the interstate while he's talking to us, which we should really have him. We really need to have him pull over. But we also now are finding out in this meeting today that the Secretary of Labor just revealed to President Trump that DOJ has uncovered massive unemployment insurance fraud. We're talking about 25,000 people who are now 115 years old who are collecting $59 million. 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments at the tune of $254 million. 10,000 who haven't even been born yet. 10,000 people who have not been born yet. 15 years into the future, 69 million, and they haven't even been born yet. The fraud is overwhelming, and why are you and I, my friends, working as hard as we do to pay this federal government who can't even keep track of their own books? If you ran your business the way they do, they would try to send you to prison. They want to audit you. Isn't that the height of hypocrisy? They want to audit your business. Every time you turn around, they're questioning this and want this and fill out this form and fill out that form. And yet they waste trillions of dollars. They ask of the American people what they don't do themselves, but it's on purpose, folks, because this is how they, I think, launder money. This is how they pay people off. This is how they pay off their friends, their special interest groups, the crooks that get into the government. This is just ridiculous. Thank the Lord that President Trump's exposing it like he's doing. Now joining me back is Aaron. Aaron, where are you at today, by the way, my friend? We've only got like 2 minutes left. Where are you at?
So I left Arizona yesterday. I stayed over in El Paso, and now I'm about 100 miles from What is it? Aberdeen.
Oh, Albuquerque?
And
Albuquerque?
I'm on my way to Dallas. So
Oh, you're close to
not Albuquerque. Aberdeen, I think it's what. Aberdeen. Yes.
You mean Aberdeen, South Dakota?
And I'm about. Yeah. No. I'm in Texas.
Oh, you're in Are you going through Amarillo?
No, I came in through from Arizona, El Paso, and then I'm on my way to Dallas.
Yeah, okay, you're going to Dallas.
El Paso.
Abilene. Oh, you're going through Abilene. Abilene. Yeah, there's a song about that. There's a song about that, Aaron. I'll share it with you when we're together. Let's talk about this coming Tuesday night. I'm going to speak, Aaron, at the Worldview Weekend Rally that's free. It's absolutely free of charge. I'm going to be speaking on Satanism, globalism, and spiritual deception. Dr. Woods is going to speak on all the signs of the time. And what are you going to speak on? I don't know if Dr. Woods was saying he should be speaking on the temple and the red heifers and all that's going on with that and getting ready. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to speak on that. I got a lot of stuff to share. Whatever you want me to share. I could talk a little bit about the experiences of the war, the darkness, the hope, the light. As a Messianic believer, what believers are doing to bring light into the darkness. But I'm more than happy to talk about the temple. Yeah,
I think our audience would love to hear about the temple, the 5 heifers, the priests that are being trained, the choir that's being trained, the Temple Mount, what's going on in the Temple Mount, all that's going on with the Jewish people wanting that third temple. Not because you and I are excited for the third temple. I always have to throw this out because we get criticism. We're not excited about new sacrifices. The sacrifice has been once and for all. It's finished, he said on the cross, Christ. But we have to have a third temple to go into that tribulation and have those things come to pass. So let's have you speak on that. Okay, stay right there.
Absolutely.
Folks, that's this coming Tuesday night, okay? Don't go anywhere, Aaron. That's this coming Tuesday night. We now are well over 1,200 registered, and you can still get in, but you have to register by phone or online. Worldviewtube.com/events. Register everyone you're bringing one at a time. You can use the same email and register them again so they have a seat. Worldviewtube.com/events. All right? Stay tuned for Crosstalk. Take care. And we're back with Aaron, who is headed to Abilene, Texas, we figured out. And Aaron, you're looking like, you're just looking like a vacationer.
Yes.
You might as well just wear a shirt that says I'm a tourist right now.
Well, you know what? I hope I don't offend anyone.
Who said that? Van said the same thing? Yeah, Van, I guess unbeknownst to me, one of the guys in the control room said the same thing. He looks like a tourist. You got your green shirt on, you got your blue hat, your sunglasses. Yeah, it screams, I'm a tourist. I'm a tourist, baby. I am.
Well, it's different from being a tour guide, that is for sure.
Yeah, that's like herding cats, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Got a lot of stories.
All right, give me an update on anything else going on in Israel we ought to know.
Well, something very important, and I actually sent you a text, and I don't know if you got it or not.
Probably not.
To your phone, where we usually text each other.
Yeah.
And it's a quote by the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. I sent it also to Logan.
Yeah, here we go.
Very important.
Here we go. He said this: the Palestinian cause is not my cause. I only care about my country and the people of my country. We will not waste time with radicalism. We will modernize rapidly, end quote. That's the Saudi prince. That's the Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
Brannon, that quote itself is radical, because during this war, during this 550-day war, a number of times, I can remember at least 3 or 4 times, that he said there will be no peace, there will be no Abraham Accords until the Palestinian issue is solved. And we must not abandon our Palestinian brothers. And now, this is a U-turn. I think it's basically, I smell the fingerprints of Trump over that statement. Or if it's not Trump, it's someone from his administration who has been talking with Saudi Arabia about moving forward for regional cooperation, energy, and we all know that the Saudi prince wants to build this city, Neom, and he's going to need energy, he's going to need water, he's going to need technology. This is where Israel comes in, and that peace corridor that I've talked about that Trump is interested in, the Ben Gurion vision, Saudi Arabia will be part of that. So I think that's what I'm sensing here, why Saudi Arabia are making that statement. But it's radical for him to say that. I mean, he's throwing them under the bus.
He's saying, I want nothing.
I
want nothing to do with the Palestinians.
That is radical. So he's done. If that is a true statement by him, and I'm quoting the source, then this is big, and it seems like the handwriting is on the wall that the Palestinian people are going to be moved out. Israel are moving into greater parts of the Gaza Strip. It's part of our strategy. If Hamas are not going to surrender or hand back our captives, we will take over land. Now, something really important, Brannon, in the Arab world, in the Muslim world, and in the radical world, losing land is a huge loss. It's massive. It's even worse than losing human lives. So, and this is why our defense minister, Israel Katz, is using this maneuver and strategy. He's hitting them where it hurts. We are basically cornering them. Now, we all know that this is a huge risk because they still have 56 hostages. But there are calls in the public saying, right now we must put our nation first. And what are they saying, Brannon? They're saying, yes, our hostages are important, but our nation is more important. So it may be, I've been thinking a little bit about Samson lately and how, Samson, he took himself down for the sake of the greater good. And it could well be that we need to take out Hamas and maybe even our own people for the sake of the greater good. Time will tell.
Wow. Well, this is big news. It absolutely is. Okay, so you're headed through Abilene, and you're on your way to Dallas. Is that right? Is that right?
Correct. This weekend, and it's on my website. I'm going to be speaking at Correct. Yep. Okay. I'm going to be speaking at a Messianic congregation on the Sabbath.
While you're there.
And in a church in a place called North Point.
Okay. Well, while you're there, ask people about the humongous mosque compound, 402-acre compound in Plano with Yasser Qadi. Ask them about the big compound in Irving, the neighborhood, the Sharia neighborhood in Irving, Texas. So Dallas has got a real problem. See if your Jewish Messianic friends know that they're setting up one of the biggest terrorist groups, according to reports, recruiting terrorist groups in the area with another location as well. We'll get a report from you, and you'll be in studio with us April 1st and April 30th and May 1st. You'll be in our studio, as well as, of course, this Tuesday night in Milwaukee. Take care, guys.